each other through it. Come on and see, good movement draws good movement.
Welcome to Good Movement Draws Good Movement, the podcast where farmers, ranchers, and rural folks can grow relationally through awareness, understanding, and effective communication. Hey, it's T. I'm your host, and I, along with my guests, will be covering topics related to drawing good movement. Things like self and social awareness, brain science, positive psychology, extending grace, and so much more. We'll share tools that can help you understand why you are the way you are, why others are the way they are, and how you can use that to step out of self-told lies with grace and compassion to draw good movement in conversations, relationships, and life in rural America. Let's go draw good movement. Welcome back to the Good Movement Draws Good Movement podcast. Not last week while you're listening, but last week while I'm recording, I had the privilege of workshopping with a group of young veterinarians. We talked about good movement and how good movement draws good movement, and we went over the good movement framework. If you're not familiar with the framework, it's self-awareness, social awareness, and communication. As part of the workshop and going through the framework, we did some exercises in validation. And a couple of really great questions came up. And we're going to get into those. But first, if you are interested in drawing good movement at your upcoming event, or you know someone who might be interested in drawing good movement at their event, a good movement workshop might be what you're looking for. Shoot me an email at taryn@tarrandreeling.com for more info. My email will also be in the show notes if you aren't in a place where you can write it down or you aren't sure how to spell Taryn or Dreeling. With that, let's talk about the validation exercise that we did in the workshop. The exercise is written like this. One person share a small frustration with verbal or nonverbal cues, and the other validates. So typically when we're workshopping, everyone's sitting at tables and you can kind of pair out or break into groups of 3. But one person will share the small frustration, again, with verbal or nonverbal cues. And then the other 1 or 2 people will validate that person. They cannot give advice. They can only acknowledge and proceed with curiosity. So asking honest questions and getting really curious. Then I ask them to switch roles. So everyone gets a chance to be the validator and be validated. And then at the end of it, we do that for a few minutes. In the end, we debrief. And I ask participants what felt natural and what felt awkward. And one of the things that came up last week and comes up quite frequently that falls under the awkward umbrella is the desire to help advise, offer solutions, etc. And honestly, it is really hard if you're not in practice of sitting with someone and listening and being present and validating them to not jump into advising, offering solutions. We really, really want to help people. And sometimes the best way that we can help them is to be present and sit with them in whatever it is they're bringing to us and validate them. Sometimes that's the best way we can help them. But I also understand how hard it is to want to offer up that advice and those solutions. The next question that came up, I really, really, really liked this question. The question was, what if what the other person says is stupid? And to this question, I offered up what we talked about in episode 140 about fingerprints and perspectives. If you haven't listened to that episode, you can go back and listen to it, or I'll just tell you what I said in it, part of what I said in it. I said fingerprints and perspectives are a lot of like. Everyone has them and no two are the same. What sets fingerprints apart from perspectives is that we are born with our fingerprints and they stay the same throughout our lives and nothing changes them aside from burns and scars and stuff like that. But perspectives, on the other hand, are shaped by our upbringing, our life experiences, the things we read, consume, take in. All of everything can shape our different perspectives. So, what I might consider to be stupid actually makes a lot of sense to the person saying it, and vice versa. Something that they think is really stupid that's coming out of my mouth might make a whole lot of sense to me. So, what I offered to the person who asked this question was like that sort of perspective on perspectives. And then they were like, well, so what I should do is then ask some questions and get curious. And I was like, ding, 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 ding. Yes. So if somebody is saying something to you and you're in your mind, you're like, this is kind of ridiculous and I don't really understand it. And I'm not sure how I'm going to validate that person. First, you don't have to understand it to validate it. Second, ask questions. Asking questions gives you an insight that you didn't previously have. And those questions can go a long way to helping you understand how the person got there, even if you don't agree. And maybe you don't fully understand, but at least you have a little more information to proceed with in the rest of the interaction. The next question that was asked after our validation exercise was, what if they say something that is false and not factually true? I don't want to validate misinformation. And to this, I want to say we are in no way validating falsehoods and misinformation when we're validating people. We can validate people without agreeing with what they're saying or even giving them any clue that we're in agreement because we're not validating what they are saying as far as facts, falsehoods, etc. We are validating the human and what they are feeling. So the example that I gave was, I see you, I hear you, I understand that you're upset or, whatever it is, you can insert whatever it is for your own scenario. And that does not match the information that I have. So you are validating the person in their humanness and what they're feeling without agreeing with what they've said. We have talked about validation on this podcast before, and I just want to take a little minute to remind everyone again, validation is not agreement. It is acknowledgement of the human and what they are feeling and experiencing. And I think it's important to remember that we don't get to choose our feelings. We don't get to choose our feelings. We can choose what we do with those feelings. We can choose what we do with emotions that come up and the information that those feelings and emotions are providing us, but we don't get to choose. So if you or someone else is experiencing a feeling or emotion, it's valid. It's valid whether we understand and agree or not. If it's a feeling, it's valid. And as we've talked about before on this cast pod, validation, again, I said this just a minute ago, does not mean agreement. We can wholeheartedly disagree with someone and still validate them. Validation lies, again, in the seeing, the hearing, the acknowledging someone else's feelings and humanness. And validation can go a long way toward improving communication and, more importantly, strengthening connections with other people. And that's never bad. Humans need humans. Humans need connection. Validation is a way we can grow and strengthen connections. If this episode resonated with you and you'd like to host a good movement workshop for your group or event, shoot me an email. Again, it's in the show notes. And let's talk about what that could look like. And with that, until next time, draw good movement. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm so grateful for you. If you found value in this episode, I'd love for you to share with others who might also benefit from tuning in. Share by word of mouth, send it in a text, take a screenshot and post it on social media, or share however you prefer. And if you haven't already, hit the follow or subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Until next time, draw good movement.